And good evening. Welcome back to Unhappy All Alike, our second go around of doing Tolstoyan Good Society. I have reassembled the amazing cast from the last time we did this, and they remain amazing. So this is great. I'm going to introduce some of them now. First up, somebody I have played with a lot, but not enough, I think. Richard, who's playing Baron Grigory Antonovich Zinoviev.
Hey, I'm Richard, and I am playing Baron Grigory, who goes by Grisha. He is a St. Petersburg socialite. He uses the Cornerstone playbook. He is a St. Petersburg socialite living on his late father's fortune and is very close to his half-sister, Shura.
Well, I mean, somebody has to be nice to Shura. She's very, very sad.
Shura is a very wonderful person. I don't know what people mean to her.
She's very sad. Well, we next go to our other very sad Russian nobleman, maybe not as sad as Grisha, who is not as sad as Boris, who is the saddest man in the world. But let us go to Daryl, who is playing Prince Valentin Stepanovich Volokhov.
Hi, yeah, I'm Daryl, and I'm playing Prince Valentin, also known as Valya. Valentin is a gentle and shy man who has yet to marry, though not for lack of opportunity and for the wishes of his incredibly overbearing mother, whom he has a sort of fraught relationship with, although that is incredibly one-sided because she doesn't notice at all. He has not married because he just hasn't found the right person yet. So yeah, he assumes that he will marry one day and have a dull life, but he secretly wonders if there could be something more. He is friends with Shura and also acquainted with Grisha, who went to school together, finds himself thinking often of the halcyon days of school with Grisha. And he recently has reconnected with his old friend, air quotes, Tamara, whom he bears a huge grudge against, even though she seems also completely oblivious to this. Most of his grudges appear to be one-sided. We'll see how that goes.
I mean, you're a character with a rich internal life, and Tamara, I think, projects all her internal life on other people. So that's maybe unfair, but why don't we next check in with our very sad Countess, Leandro, who's playing Countess Alexandra Fyodorovna Kuznetsova.
Yeah, so Countess Alexandra, or Shura to those who are close to her, is contrary to what most people believe. She's not sad. She's very happily married. She's betrothed. I mean, not betrothed. Married and fastened to this war hero of a Count Viktor Kuznetsov. She's completely content. I don't know what you're talking about any unhappiness, wherewithal. I mean, she doesn't look unhappy. She doesn't seem unhappy. She even told to her brother straight up that she's not unhappy. So I don't see how she could be sad in any way. No, she seems perfectly fine.
Well, I mean, you're not societally sad, and that's all that counts. And next, let us go to my longtime collaborator, co-creator. I don't know. We're joined at the hip now, Serafina. There's no escape. Serafina, who's playing Baroness Tamara Konstantinova Yashvina.
Hi, everyone. Serafina, she, her, playing Toma, she, her. And, well, Toma is a socialite. She is the daughter of Kat's character, who you will meet in just a moment, who is a bit of a scamp. And, I originally saw her as just sort of, straight up lesbian in the 19th century. But instead, I'm going to be playing her probably as aggressively bisexual, and we'll just sort of see how that goes. She is a widow and recently returned after a period of full mourning that she spent sort of outside of Russia in London, and is just sort of easing her way back into the society that she used to sort of rule with a velvet fist before she was forced into a terrible marriage.
I mean, it was at least a wealthy marriage. Yeah. So that was good as far as Connie could see. Hi, I'm Kat.
Connie.
I use she, her. I am playing Konstantin Sergeyevich Kadavosov, who goes by Kostya or Connie, since he likes to use the English nickname and then uses them for other people, whether they asked him to or not. He is a delightful fellow who writes comic farces and has no deep inner well of sadness or worry or concern whatsoever. And he's also a very good liar, so you should keep that in mind. He is Tamara's estranged father. He's working on that, but maybe not that hard. And we're gonna find out more, I think, tonight about poor Connie. We also play a bunch of secondary characters, but we're probably gonna have enough now that I won't introduce them, so we're gonna worry about that later. Just, if you hear people talking funny voices and they're not different characters, that's the reason. So, when last we left off, we had just had a lovely ball at the Volkhov family mansion, which is in Moscow, right, Daryl?
I forget which one's like is it?
I think we've been in Petersburg most of the last session.
Okay. But I believe your family is mostly in Moscow, right?
We're staying mostly in Moscow lately.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. And at that ball, there were various connections. People were sad, and other people were trying to get other people to notice their charming and unmarried daughters, but that apparently just something's not right with that boy. But we did finish our second novel chapter, which was great because that's what I set out to do. We're going to try and do that again tonight. But right now we have to talk about everybody's reputation. So let's take a look. How do people feel about their reputation after that ball?
I mean, I feel like Valentine proved he is like very congenial and a wonderful host. So,
I mean, yeah, you did defy your own desires of not do the stupid party for the sake of your societal position. That seems about right. And I don't think you did anything negative. So
yeah, I don't think I gained or lost anything.
I honestly can't remember if Connie managed to secure an invitation. I think I came very close to securing an invitation from people above me, which, is everybody. But I don't think I did, so I'm not going to say that. I'm not sure that I acted in an uncouth manner. I mean, I was, I did have an intimate conversation with the lady of the house. But you know what? And people don't know that, right? So, yeah, that's the problem with reputation. It doesn't matter if anybody sees it; it still goes off.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm just pulling up documents.
I'm trying to think if it's
mine.
Well, if you hover your mouse over the little header for the reputation tags, it will give you. I know. I did a lot of automation on this sucker.
You are beautiful.
Well, thank you, Richard.
I think Shara acted in the service of duty and morality in a way to compromise her desires, insofar as she's not letting anyone know of her desires and is publicly telling people, no, I'm fine, I'm all good. And it's been quite lovely and cordial throughout all this. So, I'm gonna take that as a win. Well, society will probably take that as a win.
So,
I'm defying my mother, but I don't think it's been open enough to really qualify for a reputation tag.
okay. So it looks like I'm the only person who's gained a condition, huh? That's fun.
I will work harder.
Yeah, I know. So I took philanderer because that seemed appropriate. So the question is, broke or fracture? Well, which one is more interesting? And if I took fracture, who would that be with? The obvious person would be Anna Sergeyevna, though.
That seemed to be quite inevitable.
Yeah, the more I think about it, the more I think that it probably has to be Anna Sergeyevna.
Mm-hmm.
Because I did such a crappy job of getting her to fall in love with, getting the prince to fall in love with her. So she's just pining away all by herself. That worked for you, Leander?
Yeah, I think this play she was witness to. I have to tell her that, like, she backed the wrong horse for
It's a shame.
getting anyone to teach her how to do this marrying business.
Great. Cool. So I'm estranged from my little sister and my daughter. I love Russia.
Yeah, you're
Sure.
being very fucking Russian right now.
I really was trying not to be, but here we are.
Doesn't matter how much time you spend in France, Papa, it will always catch up to you.
I'm just checking something. I know we had somebody else monologue last time. Was it?
I think it got checked off. It was
No, I know that Sasha did, but did Grisha monologue? Oh, he did. Okay, never
I
mind.
did monologue.
Sorry. Yep. I did not scroll over far enough. That was why. Cool. All right. Well, we have our favorite phase now, the epistolary phase. So, anybody got it? You can write up to 2 letters. Anybody got a letter?
yeah, totally. I'm gonna write from the princess to Konstantin, to Connie. And I think he receives this once he has gotten to the country. And it reads, "My dearest Connie, I have received the poems that you sent me and have had plenty of time to go over them since we have been so long separated. I regret that you are in such dire straits with Anna, but I believe that eventually she will come to your way of thinking and realize that you intended no harm. Since you have left, the city is nothing but gray. I mean, it is always gray, but it seems darker and colder without your embrace and without your sweet face to greet me in the mornings as we meet each other on our way about town. I look forward to hopefully seeing you soon in Petersburg or elsewhere. Yours eternally, Princess."
I have one. From Leoda to Toma. If that is all right. And if you would like a sorry, I'm relearning. If you would like a resolve token at any point, Toma, at any point during this letter writing process, you just grab it. Just tell me it's gone. Because I figured Leota is all about testing your resolve. My dearest Toma, I sat in the tea house for an hour. I hope that nothing ill has happened to you, that you are well and uninjured, and that you simply forgot. I know that the Moscow season is coming and that you will likely be relocating to that lovely city soon. My aunt has informed me that I should go as well to look for a good Muscovite husband. I hope that we can find a way to make up this time together that we did not get to enjoy. I wish you safest travels and a healthy arrival in the capital. Yours, L.
Man, I am a scoundrel.
But a Cyrillic L. Would you like a resolve token for that?
Sure. Man, I'm gonna have so much narrative control.
So
You're gonna be a true narrative dom.
So I have a letter that I would like to write to Shura. So, my dear Shura, I hope this letter finds you well, and I hope your mood is greatly improved, as it seems the party did not do you any favors. I was having tea today at the hotel, and lo and behold, I saw a man, and it was a man that I thought I had seen before. And though I tried my very best not to stare, I tried to study him from afar. You see, I feel like it had been many years since I had seen this man, and yet I also feel like it had only been days. There was something so oddly familiar and not yet oddly distant about him. I guess this is a long and roundabout way of saying that this man looked surprisingly like Grisha. Only if Grisha were 20 years older or so. Now, I know that you have heard the rumors about your mother, and I know that you deny them vehemently. But, my dear Shura, I don't know how to say this. That man I saw is a man that I remember from childhood. It's a man I remember seeing quite frequently when Grisha and I were at school. My dear Shura, I don't want to give any more credence to the gossip that his father might still be alive, but I cannot help but shake that the man I saw at the hotel today may have been that man. I have, of course, not told anyone else what I have seen, but I thought it was imperative that I tell you and entrust you with this knowledge. I hope it helps, and I hope that it does not sour your mood anymore. Your dear Valya.
I don't know why Valya would think Shura's mood is sour. Shura's mood is grand. It's always grand. Oh yeah, forgot to do a thing. When you trigger a negative reputation condition, you should frame like a scene or vignette about.
Oh, thank you for reminding me. I was about to say I needed to do that. You want to do that after epistolary? During? You want to do it now?
Whenever you're up for it. Well, thing is, I was going to write a letter from Anna to Tamara dealing with it anyway.
Yeah, that's fine. Maybe we'll think.
Like,
yeah,
it doesn't have to be a big scene. It could be. You could just narrate it, or Okay, so yeah, I was gonna write a letter. From dear Anna to her niece, I guess. The Baroness. Oh, okay, so Anna's only older by like a year. Dearest Tamara, I feel that 1,000 woes could have been solved if I've written to you first rather than to your walking, talking, philandering disaster of a father. As no doubt you were aware, I have been bereft of all options and had been forced to turn to what I thought to be his sound patronage. I had thought that he had done you right in the past and he could do the same for me. I apologize wholeheartedly for ever believing that that was true in any way. Clearly, however your match was made with what was his name? Alexei Yashvin was clearly because of your fortitude and your wit and skill rather than anything he could contribute to that match. I understand if you believe that because I'm belated in writing this letter that you think that I had not thought to come to you before him. Alas, family, filial bonds proved to be stronger than I had hoped they'd be. I will not shirk words. I'm quite desperate. Dear Tamara, I can feel time ticking right behind me as I write this letter, and I would be ever so grateful for any help you could lend my way. Yours, Anna. I need to internalize these last names. Katavasova.
Oh, well, then I definitely have a letter. I feel like I'm spending a lot of time writing to my dad, but this is going to be a very different tone. I'm stepping up to the cage. Yeah, the letter reads, Father, I have received a letter from poor Anna. What on earth ever made you think that you could make a match for anyone, much less someone so beloved of our family as dear sweet Anna? Let me be very clear. You are not to meddle in the affairs of the women in our family, and I will not find it in my heart to cut you off from what little wealth I supply you. No one else needs to go through the horror of a Konstantin Kadavasov arranged marriage ever again, and I will ensure that it never happens and make sure that not a single person in Petersburg listens to your recommendations when it comes to who they should marry or how they should spend their romantic or social time. There are many things that the man that I respected in my youth was good at. Writing, philosophy, intelligent conversation. Interpersonal relationships was never one of them. If you wonder at the strain in our relationship, it goes back to the fact that you, my dear father, simply have no insight into the human heart. Yours, sincerely, Baroness Tamara Konstantinova Yashvina.
Yeah, you're really enjoying that title I got for you, huh?
I mean, I hate it, but I have it.
So, speaking of titles, to Baron in French, to Monsieur the Baron Zinoviev, My dear Grigory Antonovich, enclosed you will find certain short plays that, although practically juvenilia of mine, still have a certain charm, and their jounescence gives them a quality of je ne sais quoi, of true life and sparkle. Also, it may interest you to know that the publication rights, so far as I can tell, do not exist within our beloved Russian and Orthodox Empire. It may also further interest you to know that in England, the the fashion for small performances of regional theaters is quite a profitable one for an author who knows how to look out for his own interests. I propose to you, my dear sir, that you consider the publication of these with the goal of licensing them for performance in the far corners of our beloved empire. I think that you will discover that rather than catering to the 5 or 6 Muscovite housewives who have the wherewithal to spend a season in Florence, that this will prove to be a more enduring way for you to generate the revenue for your publication firm, especially, my dear sir, as you will collect a share of the royalties. I have the great honor to remain yours very sincerely, Monsieur Kadavasov.
I have another letter. To His Serenity, Valentin Stepanovich. Dearest Valya, I find myself on the unpleasant duty of writing to you from Moscow. As boring as it is in season, it is even more dreary and dull out of season. I cannot wait for my friends to arrive. I hope that you will. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. I cannot wait for my friends to arrive. It appears that in addition to being a publisher, I am also an acquisitions editor. And that we appear to be publishing manuscripts not only from Russia, but in French. However, money is money. I do hope that my friends will join me for dinner at the beginning of the Moscow season if you are arriving, as I know that, like my own, your mother will insist at the very beginning of the season. And I do hope that you will bring, if you might, that lovely Toma, who I've seen you so much in the company of before I was forced to leave Petersburg on business. If you do see my sister, please give her my love. Your friend and schoolmate, Grisha. If there was anything in there that needs a resolve check, then let me know, or that you would like to push back on.
No, I think it was like the perfect balance of like knife twisty, like using you, don't care about you, and just want to get to your like friends, but also in a nice way.
I actually would like to see people.
Okay, so for my second letter, apparently it's just mess with Shura's life because it's going to be from the Countess Lilia, but it's going to be to the Count Victor, her husband. So, my My dear son-in-law, I hope this letter finds you well in your apartments out on the front. I hope that the I hope that your fortnightly visits are proving to be lucrative, and I hope that you return to your ever-plumpeting wife with all of the adoration that my daughter so deserves. Count Victor, I am writing today to confide in you of some terrible rumors that seem to have spun up around your most honorable duties. It seems that rumors of disquiet in your household have sprouted a terrible, terrible slander against your name. And it seems that people are saying that you spend those days out on those fortnights not amongst the company of your men, but amongst the company of a woman that is not my daughter. Now, of course, I know that there is absolutely nothing to these rumors, and of course, I know that you love your daughter, my daughter, dearly, and that you cannot wait to usher in the joys of parenthood with her. But may I say, Count, that I do believe you should be much more conscientious with the way you spend your time. You see, it is not only men who sometimes find their delights outside of their homes. And if you were to act in such a manner as to give my daughter any reason why she should doubt her happily married home, I fear what would happen. I fear that she might fall into some sort of destitution and sadness that can only be solved by the most improper of means. I think that it is important that you know that the way you spend your time is the way other people spend their time. And I would encourage you to spend your time happily at home. Your dear mother-in-law, Countess Lilia Valievna Efimova.
I think I'm the last one to have a letter. Everyone's gone too.
No,
Yeah.
I still have a letter in reserve, but you
Oh.
have not gone at all. Yes.
Oh no. If you want to go first, feel free to do so.
No, please go ahead.
Okay. This is a reply from Shura to Valya, and it seems quite short and hurried. Well, not hurried. Mildly frantic-ish. That's a bad way to describe penmanship. In a gradient like that. To dear Valya, I thank you so much for what you've shared to me in your previous letter. I would ask that, that's scratched out. I would like in the future for us to converse about such a matter in person rather than in paper where such words could live in infamy. If what you say is true, and I have no doubt, I have no cause to doubt what you've seen, then it is, at any rate, it is a rumor our family could ill afford. I very much doubt you are unaware of what Petersburg have said about my household and the household of my brother. I would like to see this person you've described from my very eyes. If you would not mind, I would like to normalize our conversations over tea for as long as you're here in St. Petersburg. Not only would I like to see this person described by my own eyes, I very much would like your company in the near future. Yours always, Countess Alexandra Fyodorovna Kuznetsova.
I got something. My dear, to the Countess Alexandra Fyodorovna Kuznetsova, my dear Sasha, thank you for replying to my letter. When I am on duty, you know well that any communication you send me is enormously cheering. I do wish you had replied to my previous letter, but I understand that with the season once again beginning, you have your own duties to uphold. I am sad to read that you do not find it convenient at the moment to visit me in Poland. I had greatly wished to see you before I have occasion to return, as His Majesty will ordain. Dear Sasha, I do believe that it is time that we finally make that last expression of devoted and matrimonial love that is not only our honor, but almost a duty to both God and the country we serve. I do wish that we would once again try to have a child. I know you have been disappointed in the past, and I know that we came close on more than one occasion. I still have confidence that God will forgive us whatever sins we possess and not visit them upon our child. But I do wish to try again. I will be making arrangements to the best of my ability to return to Petersburg whenever I can. I find that your absence is extremely trying to me, and I feel your lack greatly. Yours, Victor.
Thanks very much for that. What am I going to do with that?
You're welcome. You still have one left, right, Landra?
Oh, no, that was my second one. My first one was from
I'm
Anna.
sorry. I am out of it. Cool.
No worries.
We have clicked off everything. So we're now in upkeep. This is awesome. So the one things we're going to have to do during upkeep is establish our characters' inner conflicts, because this game is very long and we will definitely be using these. Some of us have jumped on that already. So we should work on that. However, I guess if once we establish that, I can't remember. Can you fill out the inner conflict as soon as you do it? As soon as you decide it? I think you can. I can't remember. I don't know if it matters. We've got a lot of resolve tokens out there right now.
Yeah, I'm too used to like short games that never use inner conflict. I think the only time I ever used it was our game last year.
Yeah, but it's so cool.
Yeah, I know.
I can't decide if I
Where do
want.
we write it in on the character sheets? Oh, hi,
Oh.
baby.
I opened up the hidden rows. It should be right under reputation.
Right under reputation. I see it, but where do we actually write what the
So
inner?
that's where it says inner conflict versus inner conflict. You change that to whatever you want your inner conflict.
Oh, gotcha. Thank you.
I can't decide if I want Connie's to be about artistic fulfillment or repairing his life. Actually, maybe that's
the conflict.
it. Yep. That. Duh. I can't decide the conflict, but oh. Cool. So as the other things we gotta do in upkeep, I think this is a good time to add any connections you might want to make. I wanted to make a connection, so I put one in already. Olga Pavlovna Akhmatova, Konstantin's former student and artistic correspondent. She thinks that Konstantin is not living up to his talent, but still a great man in the theater. And she is widely regarded as Russia's foremost dramatic actress. She was Konstantin's student as a teen, and they have been correspondents ever since. She has agreed to appear in his new play, her first major role in a comedy. I think their relationship is really one of two. They have an artistic intimacy, but I don't think there's anything sexual, at least. Probably not. I mean, it would be kind of gross. So if anybody else has more connections, I mean, we haven't had anybody hoving into view of poor Sasha, and for some reason, the boys don't seem to be interested in making a determined assault. You probably don't want Connie to be going out there trying to tempt the Countess. I mean, he'll do it. It's not a problem.
I got one just finishing entering.
Yeah, I was gonna. I'm finishing filling out Anatoly Pavlovich Obolonsky, who is Valentin's cousin, who has just returned from being abroad and is ready to make his way back into Russian society with the new season. He is a dashing and debonair young man who, let's see here, he's mainly there to court our dear Sasha. But I will work out how he is actually connected to my character. I think that he probably is like the big brother character to mine. Like looks upon Valentin warmly with all of the affection of an older brother, and also feels like he has to watch out for him from time to time.
Is Valentin an only child?
Yes.
That's very interesting. Were there no other children, or did they die in infancy?
I think that there were probably other siblings, but like, through just like bad luck of the draw, like Valentin's the only one that's left. And it's been a great long while, so we've all had time to like appropriately mourn it. They were all like infancy or like very young childhood.
Oh, also we have monologue tokens that need to get spent before I forget. So we'll do that next, and then we'll be ready to talk about the next scene.
Like these possible connections for the exemplar. One of them is a blackguard-in-law.
I thought you might like that.
Yeah, I'm tempted to just make that some sort of terrible younger sibling to the Count.
Oh, no wonder he's got such a stick up his. So actually, I was looking, and his age is just about right. If I might actually just tick him up slightly older, just to make it even worse. But he is old enough that his military honors probably happened during the Crimean War as a young, subaltern.
I've never looked up what happens in the Crimean War, but it never sounds great.
It's kind of stupid. Basically, Russia gets into a fight with the Ottoman Empire, supposedly about visitation rights for for Christians in the Holy Land. And believe it or not, France and the Ottoman Empire had a long-standing treaty of friendship from starting in like the 16th century or the 17th century.
Oh wow!
So they got drawn into the fight, and then the Brits came in too, and the French. There was a Franco-British invasion of the Crimean Peninsula, which got bogged down heavily trying to crack Sebastopol. So the poem, The Charge of the Light Brigade, is an actual incident of the Crimean War.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, at the Battle of Sebastopol. Tolstoy, as a matter of fact, one of his first major writings was a series of short stories called the Sebastopol Sketches about the siege. I think he was actually there. He didn't do a lot, but he was actually there. Wait, is everybody got a dad named Paul? This is interesting.
Yeah, there's like three characters.
I know. It's actually kind of interesting. Yeah. Okay.
So I have one, Antonina Stanislavna Bulgakova. I'm probably butchering that. I didn't see a typical affectionate name for Antonina, so I went with Antonia. Correct that if I'm wrong, Kat.
I mean, Antonia would definitely, almost certainly be one of the ways it would get pronounced anyway.
And she had a European mother who funded her travel and her study abroad. And she is probably the most capable person of letters, and she is working that Grisha has ever met, and then she is working for Grisha as an editor.
Let me see if I can get you a short form of Antonia that's actually Russian.
Antonina.
Actually, that's interesting. My go-to source for this does not actually have the name. That's really interesting. Okay. Especially if she's using, if she's Europeanified, she could have a European name like Tony. I mean, she could be taking an English name.
Anthony or Tony. I can put both there.
What would be the casual form of Anatoly?
Anatoly? Hang on. Let me check the names list tab. Tolya. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of them. I mean, yeah, depending on what people want to say. There are a lot of Russian, you can form Russian diminutives in a lot of ways. Generally speaking, stuff that ends with sha is just affectionate. Stuff that ends with ka is a little bit more intimate, especially if there's nothing between the root and the ka. If there's nothing between the root and the ka, then it's really intimate and insulting if not used by people who are actually close to you. Yeah. Don't look at me. This is all secondhand, so I am not Russophone. Though I am Russophone enough to, if you get hung up on the patronymic, they are actually pronounced in a shorter form a lot of the times. So I put that in parentheses if you look at the pronunciation guides under your names.
So I went ahead and created a second connection, Vladislav Lvovich Yashvina. He's my brother-in-law, so his brother is dead. And he thinks that I am in danger of becoming a blight on the family name, and that I have to get married. He is an art collector. He's never married. He's the third son in his family, and tried to be clergy, and it didn't work out. So yeah, he's concerned about the family name.
Slight correction. The masculine form is Yashvin.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, don't worry about it. You know what I'm getting a sense of? These are the Muscovites.
Yeah.
I mean, it would make sense. That's why they're showing up now, because we're going to move to Moscow for a little bit, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't all have to be, but I think like Olga Pavlovna probably mostly does the stage in Moscow.
Yeah. Richard, I would totally be interested in playing Tony. Yeah, sweet.
That would be lovely. Sorry, I thought I was muted, but I wasn't.
Yeah, great. I'm like looking around. I'm like, who haven't I gotten a chance to interact with that much? Who am I less likely to find a reason to interact with? So I'm not playing two characters.
So if we're really gonna toss Tolya at Sasha, then I should not play him. And Leandro can't. So as much as I would love Daryl to play Olga Pavlovna, I think Daryl has to play Tolya.
Can Daryl play Tolya? Because that is Valentin's cousin in relation.
Oh,
Yeah,
God,
it's a
you're right.
connection.
You can't.
So I can definitely
it's
play
gonna have
Tolya.
to be. I'm sorry, it's gonna have to be you. Yeah, okay,
can
that
play
works.
Tolya.
Then.
Yeah, maybe Daryl can play Olga.
Sorry, my brain's at like
great Olga.
my brain's at like 6-7%,
Yeah,
70% right now.
Cat's brain at 50% is greater than most people's brains.
Yeah, but my attention to this small detail gets a little bit messy.
Welcome to my life.
Yeah, totally. Okay.
So I'm just fleshing out my connection. I've just written one sentence. I need to figure out the rest.
Daryl, how would you feel about playing Olga Pavlovna Akhmatova, the foremost dramatic actress in Russia?
I think I could do that.
Also, the thing is, we've done now. This is the 6th episode we've done of this stuff. I'm not convinced. Well, no, we have not had that many scenes together. I don't think the Count ever had a scene. The Prince ever had a scene with Vasa, and I think the only time Vasa and Babette were in a scene together was the finale. It's very weird.
Yeah.
Oh no, wait, they were both in the party, the episode before, so that was it.
Oh, the big party.
Yeah, that party was great. I mean, terrible, but great.
It's great for some people.
Some of us are having fun.
So, process of elimination means I am Baroness Klara Filipovna.
Into it.
Oh, and I'm married. That's awesome.
Multiple times.
Somebody in here has to be married.
Multiple times. Ooh.
Yeah, she's
Wait,
been
are
married.
you happily married?
I didn't have time to flesh it out, but I wrote down that she thinks Shura is not what her brother needed. He needed to marry for love, not duty, and she never had any of the former.
Mm.
This is
Well, she
fair.
says she's had love snatched away from her. So at least one of those marriages was happy.
Yeah. That's all I've got at the moment. I'll probably write something later, but yeah, Clara Ivanova is basically something I wrote just to have another foil for sure.
And I guess by further process of elimination, Leandra, you're gonna have to play Vladislav Lvovich Yashvin.
Yeah, you want to be my brother-in-law?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. Yeah, I'm probably rereading this now. Oh, you're the one who. What have you done?
What have I done?
Okay, so this is awesome. We've got some awesome new connections to move on the board. Let's see. We have 3 monologue tokens out there, so we're going to need some 3 monologues. The people who have not monologued are Toma, Valentin, and Kostya.
I'll spend a monologue token because I really want to know what Kostya's feelings are in being reunited with his daughter.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Totally self-serving here.
Does Toma entertain at her apartments?
I think so. Yeah, she has like little salons and dinners and stuff.
Okay. So like the camera would show Toma happy and chatting with her friends, who I'm sure are on the shady side of disreputable, and moves into the tiny room in the back of the apartment that Kostya has taken up as his study. And it's he's at a desk piled with manuscripts. He has actually, yeah, do you have gaslighting in this place?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. So he's got the gas light on, but I think he might have to have a lamp on the desk too, because the room is dim, probably cold.
Mhm.
And it's clear that he's got different manuscripts he's working on. Like one is bound up with string, and it looks clearly, it doesn't look like a play. So that's probably his big novel he's been working on. And there's a few pages that are carefully laid aside that are clearly a play, but that's not what he's working on. He is scribbling away at this manuscript, and it is the text of the Two Noble Gentlemen of Vitebsk, and it's his new farce. It's almost a word-for-word remake of one of his first French plays, but it never got translated, so he's pretty sure it's fine. And he listens and he hears you having so much fun out there, and he looks up and he's thinking to himself, how you sparkle. And you would tarnish on my arm. And how have I failed so badly with you? There's no question that you are my daughter in spirit and body and heart, maybe. And yet I don't know my way back to you. I don't know that I deserve a way back to you. I abandoned you. I tried to do what was best, but it was the worst thing I could have done. And now I'm stuck writing this drivel, which I know will do well, because at this point my skill is as automatic as a steam engine. And I'm doing it to have enough money that you will not see me as a burden. but I don't know the way back to you, and I don't know how to change myself to be what you need. And he picks up the other play and makes a couple notes after thinking about all this, and then turns back to the two noble gentlemen. You know what?
Spend a monologue token, if I may.
Oh,
I've
absolutely.
spent one. I want to hear from Valya. Valya, what are you anticipating in your head when you arrive in Moscow for the season? What are you hoping for or fearing?
So, yeah, I think this is Valentine is in his hotel room. He's settling in as like the butler is unpacking everything for him into the various like wardrobes and things, and he's just kind of standing there staring out the window. And I think the thing that he sees immediately is he sees his mother like down on the street, like getting into a cab with another young woman, some woman that he's obviously going to be fixed with later. And like whatever like fine mood he was in just instantly darkens, and you would really see like the smile drop from his face, and like his like brows furrow, and in his head he starts thinking, when will she learn? When will she understand that she cannot just parade these women in front of me like some prized farm animal that I'm just going to finally buy? When will she stop ushering girl after girl into these castles to end up on the floor after I've gutted her again by denying her what she wants? I feel like a monster to have to be so cruel over and over again, not because I want to, but because she makes me. She makes me do this again and again and again, and she will not understand that there is no prince here for her to be married off to. He takes a sigh and he turns around and he looks at the letter that he received from Grisha, and he thinks, if only I could go back to those days where I could just be around people and not have to worry about what I owed them, what they owed me. If only I could throw away all of this and try to just be a person instead of this fantasy that I must live up to. I will never live up to the fantasy. I'm a sheep in wolf's clothing. I am a lie inside of another lie inside of another lie. I wish that there was someone I could really talk to. I feel like I get almost close enough with Shura, but I still have to hold back. I can't tell her everything. I can't tell my mother everything. And so I will go to the balls and I will lord over this castle. And like Bluebeard, I will just pile up more women's broken dreams in my locked room.
So,
I'm sorry, I think Fina got broke.
I'm not okay. Everything's fine. Everything's cool. Good. Damn you, Daryl.
so I think the only responsible thing is for me to spend my monologue token on you, my darling daughter.
Oh, God.
Now, I would ask you the same question, except you made it pretty freaking clear in your letter, but actually, no. I want to know if Toma has any love left in her heart for Konstantin Sergeyevich.
So later the same night as your monologue, Konstantin has drunk himself into a stupor. if you want me to like spend a resolve token. I feel like you said he drinks, so
I don't think it's important enough. Yeah.
So he's drunk himself into a stupor or he's written himself asleep. I'm not sure which. But he's like slouched in his chair in his study, and it's like a comfortable chair, but still. And you see Toma walk by the doorway with a candle in her hand and then turn back around and then disappear from the doorway. And she comes back and she like gently closes his books and marks the pages. And she puts a blanket over his legs and sticks a pillow sort of like next to his head in like the little, wings of the chair, and kisses him on the forehead and then walks out of the room. And then she sits down in bed and she starts to journal, which is what she does every night. And we see her writing in the journal. My father is a great man, intelligent, worldly, wise in so many ways. But he doesn't understand what it is to truly love something. Nothing that he's ever given me has come without some form of self-interest. And all I've ever really wanted was for him to see me as a whole person rather than just a daughter, a pawn to move around the social circle until he got what he wanted. He says that he got me my title, Baroness, but really what he got was a daughter with that title. Really what he got was access to income that he didn't have before. And what I've wanted is for him to want me as who I am. Of course, these are petty and foolish things for me to be writing, and luckily no one will ever read them, for I sound like a silly love-struck girl, not a woman who has been married and widowed and should be thinking of things other than the love of a father, but still here I am. But it is late, and I should get to bed.
Brava, signora. Okay. So, my pitch was that we go out to Moscow and maybe drop in on the estate Kostya has rented for the summer to rehearse his play. Does that work for folks? And then we can see where we go after that. So, to fulfill my obligations for a reputation scene, thank you, Leandra. It just opens like Ireson. Connie's lying on a couch in his study. He's still wearing his evening clothes. His valet comes in to wake him, and he gets up and he's letting him shave him and looking through the mail. He picks up a letter addressed to Anna Sergeyevna that's been returned unopened. And he sorrowfully puts it on top of the stack of the other returned unopened letters that he's got from Anna. Then he gets up and pulls back the curtains, and that is the start of another day at the estate. So, what I'm going to do here. Sasha, Shura, Sashenka. I am converting one of my negative tags into a resolve token, and this is my bye to you. The resolve token is that the Count has forbidden you to come to this place because I am a dissipated, philandering gambler. And the resolve token I have to spend on you is that you come anyway. That work for you?
Sorry, I got distracted. Sorry, so I got a message about a thing and I had to resolve that. Was that to me or to anyone?
Yeah, it was to you.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. I got a. Hold on. Can I get a minute? I'm going to need to answer this.
Sure. I mean, you can make that decision as we move on, but we can definitely start with other folks. I think.
No, I can start. It's just that I completely missed that you were talking to me. Could you say again what
Sure.
was it?
The offer is that because I am a dissipated philandering gambler, the Count has forbidden you to have anything to do with me on the estate, and my resolve token for you is that you come anyway.
Oh yeah, no, I will take that token. I think part of this wasn't said in the letter to Valya, but that was the tiniest. The idea of sure going out to like, ooh, does my brother have like a secret dad, or something? It's kind of like part of testing some boundaries, I suppose, and this is kind of one of them. So yeah, I'll definitely take that token.
Awesome. So I think this is a natural beginning of the day. I think over coffee, out on the terrace, Konstantin and Olga are sitting there drinking coffee and planning things. And like the estate is about what you'd expect when you have like a bunch of actors coming and hanging out in the estate in the country. But they have been building a stage in the back to do some rehearsaling on. Hey, rehearsaling. That's a new word. That's a word. It's a word in Konstantin. Yeah. And so yeah. My dear Olga, allow me once again to express first my profound thanks that you have agreed to do me this great favor, and my profound disappointment that the role I have written for you is so vulgar is not a word I use lightly.
Oh, Connie, you know the fact that you have originated a role for me to begin with is more than enough. And I'm sure that it will benefit me greatly to do something so radically different from all of the tragedies I've been in so far.
I don't know. Olga, I don't know that my pen is worthy of your talent, to be perfectly frank.
Well, of course it's not, but I'm going to give it to you anyway.
That's my girl. Cool. And I think at that point, the valet comes up and drops a little note on my desk, and I open it up and, how interesting. The Countess Kuznetsova is coming today.
Interesting. I've heard many rumors about them, about her and her husband.
This shall be our greatest rehearsal yet, for we will have to play the parts of responsible members of society. I must go and talk to my daughter. Stay here. Read lines. I don't know. And he goes dashing off. So I don't know if we want to do the introduction of the Countess right away, but we could, or other folks could be here doing stuff. I don't know. I think this is a place where almost anybody could drop by at any time.
Would it make sense for Tulya and Valya to arrive roughly around the same time as the Countess?
I think that could be excellent. I mean, well, Valya is the Countess's friend, right? So they could all arrive together in the same carriage. Unless you want the meet cute for Tulya.
I was thinking of the lock eyes moment.
Yeah, that's fair. We should definitely have that.
I mean, we're throwing him at her. We might as well see him get thrown. We might as well see the catapult launch.
So maybe let's put Valya and Tulya on the stage, and then Sasha, you can make your entrance whenever you wish.
So I think we're actually on a stage. I think that would be great. And yeah,
it was just the theater. Like everybody else is just taking the afternoon off, and so that when we arrive, the theater is just open.
Mhm.
Or the makeshift theater is just open.
Yeah, and I think it's like one of those things where maybe it feels like. Okay, so first of all, we need to establish the other part of Talia's identity that I wrote after I introduced him before. So if you'd like to also read his bio, that would be great.
A handsome and dashing rogue who has just returned from Europe with not a dollar in his pocket. He's here to ingratiate himself into Daria's good graces and charity.
So the way I'm kind of seeing this is like, this is definitely not something that Valya would do, like treading the boards. Oh no, like I could never. But I think that it's one of the, like, perhaps you've bullied me into it, or like convinced me, because I do look up to you like an older brother.
Valya, if we're going to be spending the weekend with dissolute actors, we might as well take the stage.
Oh, Talia,
it's not like there's anyone, and I think I swing from a bit of scenery.
it's like, Talia, be careful. You're going to break something. If my mother knew that we were here and that we were standing on the theaters, it's only good that no one is here to see it.
If your mother knew you were at the summer estate of Konstantin Sergeyevich, she would say what?
That I would not be meeting any eligible young ladies who I could form an honorable match with. And also probably that their interior designer needs to be fired.
Your mother would say that Konstantin Sergeyevich would not provide you with an eligible match. That's very interesting. Anyway, I say, and swing from another piece of scenery. It's only a practice stage. They're not going to use any of this. They're just using it to practice, have fun, and get on stage. You're going to be spending a wild weekend with people in the theater.
I came to spend a comfortable weekend with Shura. She insisted that I come here for some reason, even though she knows that I have not yet really spoken with Toma since the party.
Doesn't she have the very boring brother who always has a business scheme?
Yes, I do believe that he is trying to make his publishing business lucrative and successful. And
my God, that's the least interesting way to make money I can ever think of. Business.
I mean, just because some people are born with money doesn't mean that everyone is born with money. If everyone had as much money as we have, then it wouldn't be special.
Oh my God, is he English?
I don't think so.
Write my book.
So, oh my goodness, Talia, you really must calm down. If you insult her brother, then Shura is definitely not going to enjoy your company. And I was so hoping that the two of you would make nice, because Shura is one of my dear friends.
Valya, have I ever not been charming and lovely to be around?
I think that's debatable amongst a number of people, dear cousin.
All of whom are over 35.
That is true.
Is Shura over 35 suddenly?
No. I mean, at least not in physical age. She has changed of late, though. She doesn't quite seem to have the same joy that she had at one point. She assures me she's very happy, and I've heard rumor that there is a new bundle of joy on the way.
Can I pay a token to have heard at least most of that conversation?
Yes.
You're on a stage. Like, the acoustics here are probably wonderful.
Just spend that. That doesn't go to anybody.
I'm sure. I feel like I should offer that to Valya, because now he started withering on about rumors.
Well, I am a gossipy hen.
There.
I would like for you to, for once in a good society game, actually spend a token to give to someone. That never happens. So I'll spend that. And I think the conversation is probably still going on, and Shura has just entered the theater because no one was there to greet her. Because no one seems organized enough to have greet her. So like I think when you say like, yeah, rumor has it that like there's a new bond of joy along the way, I think Shura like tries to cut in and says something along the lines of, well, I hope whatever this bond of joy is would bring back whatever joy I seem to have lost, apparently.
My dear Shura, we were just rehearsing lines from Toma's father's new play. Yes, yes.
Well, they seem to be cut out of some sort of reality. I must have a word from him where he's getting his material from then.
I am sure my cousin was only making sure that our impending friendship would be fully informed of whatever it is people in St. Petersburg talk about when they talk, which is far too often.
Well,
You must be the Countess. I extend a hand out towards you as if to take yours.
I think just out of what looks like courtesy, sure, we'll let her hand be taken by Toya, but I think she has this like she seems amused but guarded, and she says like, well, I'm not sure where you've heard us from Peter. Actually, that's not the line. I'm trying to figure out the sentiment, but like, no, I don't redact that. Well, sorry, but there's a line I want to get, but I'm trying to figure out how Cher would say it. And says her hand be taken, and she says, I'm sure us at Petersburg definitely do talk quite a bit. In fact, we seem to be devils for that. Although I'm sure I do not know that those from... I'm sorry, I do not quite get from wherever it is or wherever you came from or your name. Might I have the pleasure?
This is my dear cousin, Anatoly Filipovich Oblonsky. He's been staying on the continent for many years now, but has returned because he has missed his family so. At least that's what he tells us.
The French say that people from Petersburg, such as myself, talk too much because we drink too much tea. I've always found the French slightly absurd. You may call me Talia. I feel like we're going to be friends.
I'm sure we can be quite close friends. During that friendship, I'm sure I'd be ready to regale you with tales of my brother's apparently rather dry and boring business.
Oh, God, no. The acquisition of money is the most boring topic on the planet.
Well, then perhaps you can regale me of your adventures. It sounds like you're well storied.
I am broke, and I can tell you stories of losing money, which are the most interesting stories on the planet. Wouldn't you agree, Valya?
My cousin jests too much. He is someone who talks a fair amount about a number of scandalous things, and I merely wanted to temper the expectations that he might have, but also put him in a situation he might feel at ease, such as this artist's retreat.
I consume far too much tea, Countess. I should warn you in advance. I've been abroad but I am still a Petersburgian at heart.
Well, that fills me with a bit of joy, I suppose. Eyes turn to Valya. I get the sensation that this meeting has been prepared well in advance for myself. Tell me, Talia, what has your dear cousin been filling your head about myself?
Well, nothing that you've not heard. We only were able to just see each other for the first time in years in person, of course. Valya is a dutiful correspondent, but has only made cursory mention of you. And for instance, has failed to mention that the most beautiful woman in Petersburg is married. Cousin.
And I look at Shura and I say, Dear Shura, please accept my most ardent forgiveness. I did not mean to come across as a gossip. You know I abhor gossip. I merely wanted to make sure that my dear cousin and my dear friend met on happy grounds, because I've been looking forward to spending time with the both of you, and I wanted to make sure that we all met happily.
Well, I think that the unusual circumstance of the most beautiful woman in Petersburg being married should have been mentioned before.
I should also warn you that he is a notorious flirt, a positive rogue by all definitions of the word, and you should not pay him any mind beyond as far as you could throw a cube of sugar at him.
I do drink tea, so aim for the cup.
Well, I hope I wouldn't have any recourse to throw sugar at him, though he is dancing quite close to having more than sugar thrown at him at this point.
I assure you, Countess, your serenity, that if I were dancing, you would know I am quite the accomplished dancer.
Well, let's not get all ahead of ourselves. The dancing's not till this evening. You must be, yes. Oblonsky, yes?
Your service, sir.
Well, we'll see. I can barely afford them. Countess, and Konstantin comes up and kisses your hand extravagantly. You do me far greater honor than I deserve. Olga Pavlovna is currently studying, but she expressed great admiration of you, and if you wish to speak to her later, she would be most happy to. Where are my manners? I have not shown you the place at all.
It is no worries, Konstantin. I will be happy to speak to Olga later tonight. I'm quite pleased by the opportunity to be here, to meet with such interesting people.
We do have ambitions of performing a little bit for you, if that is what you wish.
I would be honored. And I think when she said interesting people, I was her eyes kind of like slid towards Talia over there.
Well, I do find there's one issue. If I might bend your ear, Prince and Anatoly Filipovich. I find myself somewhat short on actors, as several of them, not knowing that Her Serenity was to make her appearance today, went off to Moscow, and in a very studious and artistic fashion, apparently have managed to get themselves blissfully drunk.
In Moscow?
Well,
drinking in Moscow is an extremely poor taste.
No, sir, I'll have you
fire
know.
them and hire me.
I am a native Muscovite, I'll have you know, sir. And my mother always liked to be in Moscow. My grandmother and my mother both enjoyed Moscow, but true, it does not have the cosmopolitan charms of Petersburg. But yes, I would be delighted if you would play one of the two noble gentlemen. It's just a short scene.
Mm. I will definitely be acting, sir. I am generally known as not a gentleman. I think noble rogue is how my cousin describes me.
You'll be happy to know that that is, in fact, a fair summation of the part. You will have the opportunity to charm the delightful Olga Pavlovna in the scene.
All right. But I want you to know my range extends beyond the basic typecasting to which I've been assigned.
That I have no doubt.
But be sure in all correspondence to let my aunt know that I have taken an unpaid position as actor in service to the arts of the realm.
Quite. Or, to the Moscow Regional Arts Guild, which has the honor of producing this production in the fall. Countess, may I walk you around the grounds?
I think during that exchange, Shiraz kind of like side up to Valya and says like, "Is your cousin always full of such opinion?"
My cousin is wickedly full of everything that you should steer far, far away from, my dear.
I'm afraid for him. He seems to be bursting in the seams of everything.
Oh, that's just how he is. And trust me, the fact that Konstantin is here and offering him a part is giving him no untold amounts of glee.
Well, perhaps we'll all have to ride that glee. And yeah, and that's when I think probably like when Konstantin gets in and Sure's like, I would be delighted to see your estates. Konstantin, I would love to see how you've been managing.
So as they start walking through the garden, he says, "I can't claim that it is my estate. I'm only renting, though therein hangs a tale. Ah, Tamara, you know the Countess Alexandra Fyodorovna."
I guess I just like walk up to it, or am I just sitting in the garden? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe you're reading, or writing in your journal.
Writing in my journal very dutifully. I glance up and close whatever I'm reading, whatever book I'm looking at, and say, "Ah, yes, Countess. I didn't know you would be joining us."
I did not know of late as well, but I'm glad to have taken the opportunity. Let's see, out of character. Have we met before? Doesn't feel like it.
I think maybe we've like seen each other at parties, but we're not like acquainted.
Yeah, you're in society, but maybe not at all intimate.
Yeah.
I was just about to explain if you don't mind, the story is slightly scandalous. I would not wish to offend you, Countess, but it is, however, an interesting tale.
Toma stands up from the bench, walks over to Alexandra, and sort of familially tucks her arm around your arm and says, "My father loves telling women scandalous stories."
Well, I hope to be able to bear whatever scandal he's about to elucidate for us.
This estate was, in fact, at one time owned by my grandmother and then by my uncle, who then sold it for probably to pay for one of his many campaigns. He was a soldier, much like my grandmother's father. But the scandalous part is, my grandmother was actually an illegitimate child. She was only legitimized very late in her father's life. But she always loved this estate. This was, in fact, the estate where her mother and her true father stayed during his last days together. So I'm afraid it has It has a scandalous air, but perhaps it's the artist in me. Perhaps it's because I've been so long in Paris, but I can't help but find that there's something noble about it. True love long denied, two people caught in some kind of glacial pattern of lacking in love, finding each other at the end in the country. I don't know. There's something. What do you think, Tamara? Am I being but a foolish old romantic?
Father, you speak of love the same way that others would speak of a novel.
That is a professional failing of mine. You get so used to ordering the emotions of the people around you that you forget that they fall into them naturally and of their own accord.
There is something very beautiful about the idea of finding true love.
Especially on a spring day in the country.
Especially anywhere.
Well, I have to order a few things, especially given that I'm throwing two raw amateurs on the stage with Olga Pavlovna, who, true story, gave a Shakespearean performance at the request of Her Imperial Britannic Majesty.
Father, who have you dragged to the stage?
Oh, Valya's friend, Tolia.
Yes, I've had the pleasure of meeting him quite recently. He seems to be possessed of a lot of things.
Oh my goodness. Well, if he's a friend of Valya, that could mean any number of things.
So what I'd like to do is I'll go off stage to order the stage. I think you two should have a scene. And then if folks are up for it, I would be happy to let us play out a few minutes of the actual two noble gentlemen of the depths, where you can pick up character roles as you wish. I don't, whatever you want to do. It's a stupid little play about a couple of, it's a sex farce basically. People running around chasing each other.
Has this been your long con all this time, Kat? Like come to us like, oh yeah, remember when we did that Tolstoy thing?
Then
You have no idea what plans I have. All right, so I'm gonna. I'll just fade into the edge.
Fade into the background.
Yeah.
Countess.
I think.
What were you gonna
say? Baroness, if you don't mind, I would. I feel like I've done so before, but I would like to express my condolences again after your husband's tragic end.
Yes, thank you. He was a foolish man and he died a foolish death.
I think she probably picked up that she probably said the wrong thing and kind of looks away for a moment and says like, well, I hope that his foolishness has not tarnished any idea of finding true love out there. It may sound ridiculous, but I do agree with your father in that respect, I suppose.
And have you found true love, Countess, in your marriage?
Okay. I found. Oh, geez, how she's gonna say this because she definitely got caught out there. I found a solid happiness with my dear Victor. I fear that fiction has perhaps taught me that true love is a wild, tempestuous thing. It may just devour us whole. For now, I'm comfortable with my happiness.
Now, do you speak from personal experience? Has true love devoured you?
Now that sounds like personal experience. No. Perhaps perhaps it is a wilder thing in my imagination than it is in reality. What of yourself, Baroness? Has true love scorched you?
I think as we're walking, I hold your arm a little closer as I clutch at my chest a little bit and say, "Oh, but I was young once and at school." I think it's easy to love when we're younger, don't you? Before society pushes on us and tells us what to do, or before our father arranges a marriage with a sort of man who would fight a duel over something he knew nothing about.
Um, perhaps it is easier, but would that not would the difficulty not make it a sweeter destination? If one has to climb mountains to make it to the end, would the end be worth it?
It would be worth it, I think, for the right person, if it were the right mountain, and if one did not die in the ascent.
Yes, perhaps there are just some mountains that are quite formidable. This is probably not what you want to hear, but I must again put some faith in your father's words. This is quite. There's a. She's looking around the estate. There is something in that scandal of his that's in the air. Did you spend much time here, Baroness?
As a child? A bit. My father always did love the countryside, getting out of the city, getting away from people. But then after a while, he discovered that my wildness couldn't be contained unless he had me inside a house.
Sorry, I just need to take a drink after that. Jesus. Christ. I think you can probably feel like, sure, it's just like, wow. I'm sorry then that I've been heaping as much praise as I have on your father.
Oh, it's fine to praise my father. He's a great man and a great artist and knows nothing of the human heart or his daughter or how to be in love in a way that doesn't bring scandal and despair upon us all. But then I don't know how to do that last thing either, so I suppose.
Can I spend a monologue token to know what's going through Shora's mind right now?
Jesus.
I'll just mute and let you handle that.
I wondered all this time what it would be like to just. I not. Where are all these thoughts coming from? Scaling mountains? Destinations? Banter over sugar cubes? Is this. I don't believe I've had the opportunity to be whatever the hell this is being in quite some time. It seems it was just opening a crack. That's what I told myself. It was just a crack. It just a peak. I'm sure many, including myself, has said there's no need to answer Konstantin's invitation. It's foolish. It's nonsensical. It goes against what I'm meant to be, and yet I taught myself that I was hemmed in by mountains. I never taught them to be scalable until today. I just need to keep climbing, I suppose. But what to find at the end of that mountain? I'm looking at two different characters. Like, yeah, what the hell do I find at the end of that mountain? And Jesus, yeah, and I think at the end of that, in that monologue, I think Shara will like say, like, well, I'm glad to know. Well, I suppose I'm just glad. This sounds ridiculous. It sounds ridiculous in my head, but I'm glad to have known of. Yeah, I think Shara is trying to figure. She is a bit flustered, I suppose.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think what I said there is like what she is like saying, because you were quite brazen about just saying the truth about your dad. So she really doesn't know what to say anything about that.
True. Unless you want more from the scene, I think I know how to end it.
Okay, I want to know.
So I think the last thing that we see is the two of them sort of standing in some sort of like topiary archway kind of thing. And the Countess says something, and then at the end says, of course that's up to you, Baroness, or like some sort of thing where she addresses me by my title. And Tamara just like looks at her and smiles a very warm, cat-like looking smile and says, "Call me Toma."
You're switching to thou, aren't you?
Did Serafina gray out
Oh, no.
for everyone else? Oh, there we go. Sorry. You said "call me Toma" and then you grayed out, like you're part of an Oscar in memoriam reel.
I don't know what
weird.
happened.
It's okay. I'll tell you what happened. Is all our plans here just kind of blew up, and that's totally fine. We sure crossed the threshold and were reborn as a different Tamara.
Lesbianism.
So, folks. So, I mean, my idea for doing an actual scene from the play would be to do one of those. We could all be sending coded messages. I don't know that the telegraph office may not be.
I'm really sorry.
I don't know where people want to.
It's like the essence of play to find out. I don't know what to tell you.
Is this the novel chapter?
I don't know. Is it? Is there more we want? I think we're.
Okay.
We should have Grisha on at least for one.
Yeah.
I am happy to come on wherever. I could greet Valya. I could talk to. I could, since this is a publishing visit, bring Anthony with me. I mean, we are coming to see somebody. We are talking about publishing against Grisha's. against Grisha's better judgment. We could talk to any number of people there, except for my sister, who's apparently discovering lesbianism.
So I would love to, as Valya, have a conversation with you, because I would love to set up like this comedy of errors thing where I'm like, oh no, my cousin set his sights on your sister. I think he's gonna move in on her, and I think she's gonna like it.
This is, in fact, the plot to The Two Noble Gentlemen of Vitebsk.
We don't even need to do this, the play.
Yeah,
It's just gonna happen.
except for the gay part. It's it's a dude, but
Except for the gay part.
everything else.
You just have to change the pronouns.
No,
that's all.
it's even better in the play. The Shura character is dressed as a boy.
No, the documentary is going to be except for the gay part, the story of benevolence and belligerence.
I really need to make a blooper reel of these. All right, yeah, let's have that scene. That sounds like a fun scene, and then we'll go to move on.
Fina, are you okay bringing in Tony?
Can do.
All right.
Do you two want to start off and kind of establish what your repartee is, and then I can join?
I think that's wonderful.
Great. So is the idea that you invited me here?
Yes, I think this is a professional outing for us, since we are talking to Connie about publishing his work.
Okay.
And I'm not sure how you feel about it, so let's discover that in the...
Great. So I think you're greeting me as I get out of the carriage at the estate, I arrive a little after you.
I think that's good.
Yeah.
It would be inappropriate for us to arrive in the same carriage, I assume.
I would think so.
Antonina Stanislavsna, allow me to welcome you to... I have no idea where we are.
To this place.
I think I said that in character. I have no idea where we are. My bags are there, and he points to the door, where they're just sitting outside the door. Would you like your bags to join my bags?
Grisha, darling, I can think of nothing better. Oh, that country air. It almost makes me feel healthy. How strange.
You are the healthiest person I know. And I gesture for your porter to take your bags to join my bags.
Yeah. I think Tony is a sort of a more full woman. And as she gets out of the carriage, she says, "You are always so kind," and holds her hand out for you to kiss it.
I gently kiss it, and I am glad to take credit for your porter's kindness.
So, how has it been so far?
Well, I have arrived, and I have stood on the front step with my bags until you have joined me. I can hear voices from somewhere on the estate, but I cannot seem to locate how to find a path to them. I could swear I heard my sister's laugh, as if she were suddenly surprised and delighted, which I have not heard in a good 7 years.
You waited this entire time for me and did not socialize. My goodness.
There was no one around to socialize with. I cannot find a path back to the garden. There is a theater over there, but appears to be abandoned.
I believe that between the two of us, and maybe a map, we can find our way.
If only...
I thought I heard someone out here. And the door opens, and Valya just conveniently pops up. It's oh, Grisha, you're here. I didn't expect you were coming.
We are saved from boredom. Valya.
It's so good to see you, Grisha. Oh, and who is this?
Antonina Stanislavna Bolokovka. This is His Serenity, Prince Valentin Stepanovich Valkov.
She sort of offers her hand and dips into a very elegant curtsy.
And he like bows over your hand and like does all of like the most formally polite things, and it says, "My dear Antonina Stanislavna, it is a pleasure to meet you."
And you as well, my prince.
Madame Stanislavna is the most competent woman of art, person of letters in Europe.
Oh my goodness.
Unfortunately,
Too much
we
credit.
are in the vicinity of Moscow.
Far too much credit.
So-
But I'll take it.
Well, I'm sure that if Grisha's paying you compliments, then they must all be true. Trying to squeeze kind words out of him when he can't get anything from you is like trying to squeeze blood from a stone.
And in fairness, I do have nothing to give, so perhaps I am as good as he says.
Valya, 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 how have I fallen so low in your esteem?
So,
But
trust me, I still hold you in high regard because I know exactly the kind of person you are.
My goodness, I've walked into some sort of duel.
No.
Valya and I went to school together.
Yes,
Indeed.
yes, he was quite the taskmaster of an older student, I must tell you. He took me under his wing, and I mean that in all of the worst ways possible.
My
I'm
goodness.
a terribly generous older student.
So he says when he remembers.
Well, pistols at dawn then, gentlemen?
No, of course, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Grisha is a dear friend, as is his sister Shura, who is also here. Oh, and that reminds me.
I thought I heard her laugh.
Laugh. Oh, she did not seem in a laughing mood when I last saw her. And that is what I need to tell you. My cousin is here, Anatoly Filipovich, and I must warn you, I think he has set his sights on her.
I am sorry, I do not understand.
I think he intends to pursue something untoward with your sister, which of course would be completely foolish. And Shura will definitely not put up with anything like that. But my cousin, you see, is very persuasive. Oh, I'm sorry, Nina. I think this must be terribly shocking to say in front of you.
Oh, well, you know, the sorts of people that I travel around speak far more harshly, I assure you.
I met your cousin on the continent. He is a gentleman, I thought.
He is as much a rogue then or now as he was then.
But wait, isn't your sister married?
I believe that this is what Valya is concerned about. Valya, I assure you that there will be no need for intervention when it comes to Shura's dignity. She is quite self-possessed.
And if it were any other man, I think I would believe that. But you see, Anatoly is very persuasive. So
Have you
I
done
have
this
seen
before
him.
with other married women?
It is not unheard of, I must say. And I swear I would never tell you exactly who.
My goodness, and you invite him out in company?
He has appeared and he has foisted himself upon my mother and I.
Oh my goodness, you poor dear fellow.
You two were very close once.
Oh, we're still very close. I adore him. He's such a good time.
I remember him being quite the delight at school. It was a pleasure to run into him on the continent. You make it sound like he is some farcical villain.
Oh no, he's just playing one this evening. Apparently, you see, the man of the house has convinced him to participate in his new comedy.
Oh,
Konstantin Sergeyevich has convinced a prince of the Russian Empire to take up a role of an actor.
I know. It's very scandalous, and if my mother heard about it, she would simply, could not handle it.
My goodness. Konstantin Sergeyevich is here. This is going to be quite the weekend.
Yes, it is. You know that... Sorry, I'm re-looking at names. Pause.
Out of character, who is everyone?
Stanislalovna and I are considering publishing Konstantin Sergeyevich. Perhaps even in French, which I am clearly displeased about by my tone.
Yes, but French is the language of poetry.
I had so hoped we would be the publisher who helped rediscover the beauty of Russian.
Well, we can do a second printing in Russian if the first printing does well. We know our people. We don't stay inside and read. We go outside and drink tea.
And have lives of action. Yes.
Lives of action indeed.
Yes, well, we've spent so much time standing on the front porch. Please let me show you in. I was like, well, let me see
Wait,
if the man.
you know how to get into the house?
He like just pushes the door like slightly further open and says, "Yes, through here."
Valya, this could constitute breaking and entering. This is the most wonderfully unlike you thing you've ever done.
I was invited and I came from inside, Grisha. Are you certain that you haven't started the festivities early?
Valya, I am so pleased to see you here. We had no idea we could just let ourselves in without causing a stir or a scandal or perhaps losing a client to another publisher.
I am sure that Konstantin Sergeyevich will be ecstatic to see you. He's gone on and on about this new play, and he will simply talk your ear off about it if given the opportunity.
I will unfortunately have to give him the opportunity.
I think giving him the opportunity will be lovely.
And this is why one should always work with the best people, Valya. Look, Antony, we are inside a building.
Are you certain you didn't start drinking in the coach?
No, I did not start drinking in the coach.
Was it before the coach?
No, I've just had a heat stroke from standing on the patio.
Was it in Petersburg?
Oh, God, to be in Petersburg.
The point of coming out here, is to get away, breathe in the fresh air, enjoy being outside.
It makes one feel positively healthy, wouldn't you agree?
It does. I feel healthy.
Such an unusual experience, isn't it?
It's very strange. Something about the smog in Petersburg makes me feel as though I might be dead already.
It is odd that we have all driven to Moscow to enjoy a weekend out of the city.
Now, don't be a snob about Moscow.
I don't know how not to be.
You don't know how to not be a snob about anything.
I have spent the last 10 years being a snob about Moscow. It has become as dear to me as brandy.
He did start drinking in Petersburg.
I did. Unfortunately, I left Petersburg a month and a half ago.
Well, rest assured, there is plenty more to drink in here.
No fair causing a Oscar Wilde play to break out in the middle of this.
Amazing.
Okay, I'm gonna call that the novel chapter before we just end up bantering at each other the whole night. Reputation. I think my reputation went up. A countess showed up. I convinced the prince to act in my stupid farce. So I'm artistic.
Yeah.
Well, also my condition goes away. Bing.
Bing.
Did I act on a desire in a way that compromised my duty of morality?
Not yet.
Not yet. No. I mean, what? I got that big dyke energy. I don't know what to say.
We're still climbing, to use the tortured metaphor.
That scene almost made a lesbian out of me.
Tell you what, I'm
just
good at it.
climb over the mountains to the undiscovered territory, huh?
Yes. That metaphor was golden. Got your mountains right here, kiddo. Oh, everything's fine. I'm doing great.
Okay, so let's update your reputation. Hey, rumor and scandal. We got a bunch out there. Do we want to do the formal 2-round thing, or do people want to just yell out ideas? I don't know.
I think we could yell out ideas. I'm down with that.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna, by the way, give myself a negative tag.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I do feel like showing up to a philanderer's estate as a countess does earn me a negative tag.
Yeah.
Bohemian, perhaps.
I don't know. Bohemian could be construed as positive.
Not in Russian society. It's not.
Hell yeah.
Oh,
I mean, it's positive to Connie, but that's like saying, if Serafina puts gay as fuck down as her negative tag, positive tag for Serafina.
it's
All right, let's start with the obvious and stupid rumor.
I feel like one reputation I'm developing a reputation as being mercenary.
I think, and drunk, but yes, mercenary. Let's start with mercenary. We'll work our way up to drunk.
yeah, definitely.
What did I do? Flippant or no? Mercenary for right now. I'll work flippant a little bit more. Flippant a little bit longer.
Let's start with the obvious rumor. Oops, that was I didn't want to do that. Tolia and Shura have been attending events together.
Events.
A lot.
Shh.
With Toma and Tomas and others.
I mean, I don't know what the problem is.
Obviously, it's Tolia and Shura. I mean, and Toma just shows up with some dude, probably Konstantin a lot. Just, because, yeah, it's totally fine. Nothing's going on. Hi, how are you? I almost wrote Tom instead of Toma, which,
I mean,
like energy.
On point. Yeah, on point. Anybody else? If anybody wants to spread that, or anybody else want to?
I'll spread that.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else want to toss anything on this pile?
I think a really. Wait, did we not do this yet? Interesting. I think that a good rumor would be that Konstantin Sergeyevich has a secret lover.
Oh yeah.
Secret lover.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's not like he pretends to not have a secret lover. He pretends like a person who has a fucking secret lover.
Teacher, mother, secret lover.
It's fine.
I think there is a rumor circulating that Grisha has accumulated rather large gambling debts. And that's why he's in such a hurry to sign new people to his publishing house.
That works. I'll spread the Konstantin as a secret lover.
Yeah. Why not?
And the only objection I make is it's singular.
Oh, interesting. Do they
I
not
don't have a secret lover.
And secret lover? Excuse you?
Thank goodness there's no definite article in Russian. Okay.
Where are we with the rumor about Shura's possible pregnancy?
That was used. I didn't see a
Was
thing
used?
on it. I don't know. Was it used or okay?
I think it was spread, but I don't think it was. It wasn't spread, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's it.
People were just using it.
That means it's fading.
Yeah.
Okay. What else is fading?
You actually did okay.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think we duplicated the Grisha's father rumor.
That's fun. Yeah. Let's
see. One more action. I just want to be sure that there's at least a spread rumor for everyone, for at least all the PCs.
I can spread the rumor about myself because I've not done any rumors yet.
If anyone would like to make up something scandalous about Valya, that would be great.
Oh, that's pretty easy.
I mean, I added you
I think-
to the people that Shura has been seen with list because that seemed to make sense.
Yeah.
I would like to spread a rumor about Valya. That Valya has a secret common lover in Moscow.
Ooh,
A peasant lover, if you will.
shocking.
You could just say rough trade. It's totally okay.
Rough trade. Rough trade. Valya gets a lot of business, in sort of back rooms. Fine, I'm doing fine.
Yeah, if you want to fill that in, that would be awesome.
I'll spread that. They have one more action. So
Cool. All right.
Sweet.
I'm sorry I'm pressing us through rumor. I would like to preserve the outside chance that maybe we could do a short novel chapter. If we can't, that's fine. I just think we have a lot of rumors out there already, so I don't think there's maybe like episode 3 we'll go back and do a full scale and revise some of these. We got like a bunch that haven't been used yet. I should really use that Kostya thing. Cool. So in 19th century Russia, we write letters.
We do.
So a short one from Konstantin Sergeyevich Kadavasov to Her Serenity Countess Alexandra Fyodorovna Kuznetsova. Dear Countess, I cannot express to you the pleasure your visit, short as it was, gave to me and to Olga Pavlovna, who greatly enjoyed her conversation with you. I see that you have taken my daughter under your wing, which I appreciate greatly, as it has been difficult for her to return to society, as she has been so long away from Russia. Countess, although I have no standing to beg this favor, I hope that perhaps you can do a errant father one great deed of charity, call it Christian or otherwise. My beloved sister Anna Sergeyevna refuses to communicate with me, but I know that she greatly admires you. Countess, if you could speak some word to her that perhaps would turn her heart just a little bit towards her loving brother, who feels nothing but shame over the sad breach he has caused between two siblings. I obviously have no means to repay you for this kindness in a manner that befits you, but I hope that some shred of the favorable impression I seem to have made upon you may convince you to do this favor for me. I have the great honor to remain yours, Konstantin Sergeyevich.
Aw.
I guess I shall stir the pot a bit. So this is from Valya to Toma. And it starts off, My dearest Toma, it has been so good of late to have spent so much time with you. I do so enjoy the evenings that we have been taking out, going to the opera and going to the theater and having so many luxurious dinners. And I greatly enjoy that you and my dear Shura seem to have grown a fast friendship. It is nice to see such happiness on her face once again. It is unfortunate, though, that I write to you with the gravest of concerns. For you see, as much as we have been spending all of this time together, I fear that my cousin, Tolya, has always been present as well. And though I have the greatest of faith in Shura's piety and resolve, I worry that my cousin, as kind and loving as he is, may lead her to actions which she will deeply regret. I think that this happiness and this joy that I've seen within her is somehow misplaced. I think that she may grow to long for something which she should most certainly not pursue. Dear Toma, I know that you have grown close with Shura all of this time, and if there is any way that you could convince her to forsake Tolya's company, I think that that is the only way that we can avoid some truly terrible thing happening. I do not wish to remove the focus of her joy, but I do not want to see what terrible things may happen if this remains unchecked. Toma, I know that you are a woman of great assuredness and compassion, and I know that she will listen to you. Please do this for the people that I care for. Your dearest Prince Valentin Stepanovich Volokov.
Great. That was a great letter.
Outstanding.
just laying it on real thick. I have a letter from Baroness Tamara Konstantinova Yashvina to Countess Alexandra Fyodorovna Kuznetsova. Sasha. I regret that business in England has taken me from Russia for so long a time, but I did need to make sure that my flat was sold and that everything was squared away for me to be sure that I can remain in Russia and in the company of those that I love without any distraction or need to return to the city where I had lived in isolation for so long. My dearest Valya has written me with concern that your affection for his cousin might lead you astray. As it is my duty to do as my friend asks, I should plead with you to not be led astray by strange men or guided down the path to wickedness by those who would seduce you in lieu of your husband. That said, I will be back in Petersburg in a week and very much look forward to seeing your face. I hear that there are some excellent shows that we might see, or perhaps we could spend a quiet evening at your apartments. I remain, though I am oceans away, most dearly and entirely yours, Toma. I'm sorry I made everybody gayer.
I really didn't think that was possible, but you did.
I know, it just happened.
I have a letter. Just so that, if Leandro's going to lie down, we might as well just make it worth his while.
I'm just gonna do it. Like I'm just. No, it's fine.
To the Countess Alexandra Fyodorovna Kuznetsova. I'm butchering these names. I apologize. From Prince Anatoly Filipovich Oblonsky. Most serene Countess. It is with some displeasure that I must write you to apologize. Apparently, you and I were alone at an opera in a box in the worst section of town to see an opera, and I have completely forgotten the incident, which has been reported back to me in great detail by at least 3 women of good reputation. I apologize that I have no memory of this event and hope that I was not boorish or poorly behaved. If I was, then I hope that you will allow me an opportunity to make it up to you in an evening I will surely not forget. Perhaps at a cafe to begin with, and then perhaps at the theater. I do believe that the plays of Konstantin Sergeyevich are becoming moderately popular with certain members of the bourgeoisie, and we can happily watch one again. Perhaps this 2 gentlemen business, which may have been the only time in my life that I've ever intentionally played a gentleman. If that would be of interest to you, please write me at my hotel in care of my, well, I have no social secretary, still being quite broke. So perhaps you will just write to me yourself. I look forward to hearing from you and will wait dutifully in the lobby until the next messenger arrives, and hopefully we'll remember doing so. Yours, my own serenity, Prince Anatoly Filipovich Oblonsky. Tolya.
So in this run, I'm playing Andre. You're playing Vladimir. From Connie to Olya in English. Dear Olga, I would congratulate you on your triumph on the stage, so it seems that all Moscow has already beaten me to the punch, that you could turn those poor words of mine into something that almost approaches art is no compliment to me. All the skill lay in your hands, my dear. Dearest Olga, I feel ashamed before you. The success I have managed to enjoy in my life seems somehow not worthy of the kind of passion that you can bring to it. One day, perhaps, I will write you a part that will be worthy of you. Until then, I just must, as happy as I am and as pleased as I am for the money, and our dear Mr. Zinoviev is very happy as well to get his share of the royalties. I find myself empty. I miss the time we used to spend together in Paris. It seemed like what I was doing then made more sense. I'm sorry to ramble, my dear. It is apparently a consequence of either old age or Moscow, or being old in Moscow. I'm sure that time will remedy at least some of these situations. Please do write, especially as I understand that you are going to perform for His Majesty the Tsar. Yours, Connie.
I have a letter. I don't trust myself to write a shirt right now. So so I think Connie gets a letter from his sister, and it goes, "Dear Connie, I had the opportunity to watch your latest production." What was the name of that play again? Sorry. You're muted, Kat.
The Two Noble Gentlemen of Vitebsk.
Taps. Yeah, that's what I was meaning. I had the opportunity to watch your most recent production, The Two Noble Gentlemen of the Taps, and it was decent. It had flair, but, well, I did not recognize until watching that there's this joie de vivre that has been in your previous works that has not been of late. And I honestly would not have noticed if not for a certain message sent to me by way of the Countess Kuznetsova. And I found myself missing that spark. Perhaps I did not say it so back then for fear that you would not have noticed, but I've always enjoyed what you've created, brother of mine. And that I had built up in my head that someone who can move as much as you can should surely be towering in all aspects. Perhaps it's not so the case anymore, but that need not be something to cut ties with. Are you free for a chat? Some gentle tea to ease the disposition, I suppose. Perhaps I can regale you with my recent woes, and perhaps that will spark more life into you. I don't know. Tragedy and scandal seems to birth the best of farce. And such nonsense lays true with your words. It's always so full of spark. I hope to see you soon, brother. Yours always, Anna.
I think you and Richard have an extra letter. Daryl, did you get both of your letters? Or yeah, okay, cool. So lots more correspondence. Mailman's coming.
I think I'll do one from a side character as well. Okay. From Olga Pavlovna Akhmatova. My dearest Connie, I must say that your letter took me rather by surprise. It was equal parts quaint romantic and lost old man in all of the right ways. You should definitely turn it into a monologue in one of your new plays. It reminded me of all of the great times that we did have in France, and I must say I may have felt a feeling or two. Enclosed, I hope you will find a pair of complimentary tickets to my performance for the Tsar. Please do not make me regret this very charitable gift, and please grace me with as many flowers and adulations as you could possibly weather upon me. I hope to see you soon, and I hope that, and I cannot wait to read the next role you have written for me. I will wait ever constantly until you write the perfect thing that I shall originate. Your truest fan, Olga Pavlovna Akhmatova.
You know, that would probably actually work on Connie.
It was like the right note of like saccharine and like insulting.
Connie is basically a power bottom, so it works pretty well.
Fair. I've just basically realized that I'm playing him as, what if Steve Oblonsky, but written by Chekhov?
What if?
Like I should write a response to Tolia, but like,
yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
I have
That's so many offers of affairs.
right? So
I
many.
know.
How many people want to sleep with you? Answer all of them. Everyone wants you. No, I have a letter from Baroness Tamara Konstantinova Yashvina to Baron Grigory Antonovich Zinoviev.
It's our first letter
I know.
as these characters.
As these characters.
I mean, it's our first letter as not gay lovers.
I know, it's weird. It's gonna be fine. Dearest Grisha, or do we know each other well enough for me to be on?
I assume so.
Yeah.
We
Dearest,
have the same social circle.
right. Dearest Grisha, please do not tell my father that I have written you this. I understand that you have recently, along with your business partner, entered into some agreement with my father to publish some of his works. As much as my father would not believe it to be so, I am actually concerned for his well-being, and I want to ensure that he is getting his due as an author, a poet, and an artist both here and overseas. I would appreciate it greatly if you would include me in any business dealing that you have with him, albeit on the down low. Now, albeit without his knowledge. I do not want him to know that I am so soft-hearted as to be concerned for his well-being, but I also understand that my father has not always been as wise with his money or his business affairs as I would have him be, and I do not wish to see him taken advantage of or harmed in any way. He is an artist and a great man, and he deserves nothing but the best in terms of moral dealings and the correct sort of people to make sure that his work is interpreted well and received well. I do hope that you will abide by my wishes and not tell him that I've contacted you about this. I believe that if he understood the depths of my love for him, I would never live it down. I do hope to see you the next time I am in town. I should be back within the week, and perhaps we could dine at some little restaurant somewhere, the way that we used to when I was a little younger. Yours, sincerely, and again, please do not tell my father about this, Toma.
I will do a letter. I feel like all my letters have been to Valya, so I might as well just like have the Valya correspondence, if that's all right. I think it's to Valya, my friend. If your mother changes tack and decides to pressure you to make money instead of getting married, do not go into publishing. I had grand visions of being a publisher who worked on Russian authors, about Russian topics, and covering the vastness and glory of the empire built by Peter the Great. If I had realized it involved talking to university professors, I would have married the next person my mother put in front of me. Please do come for a visit and bring that lovely Baroness that I believe you have been seen in the company of. And in parentheses, he just puts, that's Toma. I promise that my apartments are poorly kept and in a quiet and disreputable portion of Moscow. And that you will have an evening of good conversation in a place that is mildly damp, mildly chilly, and with a cook that is extraordinary. I'm also quite concerned about my sister, and I'm hoping that you can bring me news of her. Your friend, Grisha, and then full title below that. Clearly, entirely convinced at this point that you and Toma are an item, without any basis in reality.
It's okay. We're all operating under a number of delusions here.
Yeah, none of us really know what's happening.
Connie sees clearly.
I think I'm the only one who has a letter left. I still don't know if I can write from Shura. It's quite a bit. I almost want to just spend that rumor of Toya and Shura attending events to just say that that meeting at the cafe or theater did happen. Just to like because as much fun as to play out that scene, I'm more interested to see what happens afterwards. If that's okay with you, Richard.
Yeah, there's no. I know we always do it, but there is no actual requirement to write out the letter. You can't just narrate it.
Yeah, but I do want to have the actual thing to have happened, at least before we get to the next novel chapter. But I do have a letter because I want to get all those side characters on screen from Vladislav Lvovich Yashvin. Probably butchered that. To the Baroness Tamara Konstantinova Yashvina. Is he allowed to call you Tom? Do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think we were family.
Okay. Okay, so to dearest Toma, I'm sad to have missed you in London. The rare chance for the two of us to get a moment to talk, but alas, I've been busy with my work, and of course, you had matters to wrap up in London. I will say I will commend that finally what seems to be the last of your mourning has been wrapped up, and I am glad. I am quite sincerely glad for that. I would not want for you to. I do want to believe my brother would not have wanted you to belabor yourself with grief too much. My brother my brother was passionate in most regards. Sorry, Seraphina's making faces. Still, now that it seems to be time to move on, I would like to assist you in that regard, in terms of moving forwards. Now, I will not start by throwing names at you, because no doubt your own passion would merely swat them away with the fierceness of which my brother has had loved you for, which is probably news to Toma. Yeah. So I would like to instead just start small. I would love the chance to catch up, to reconnect. I'm sincere in my intentions to ensure that yourself would be moving on to a place that, well, that my brother would have wanted to. Of course, underneath that is that, yeah, so you can move on and take another name. That's the that's the unwritten thing. Hope you can respond at your closest convenience. Yours always, Vladislav Lvovich Yashvin.
So that was a thing that we did. So next time we'll see if we can get 3 novel chapters in. We've done it before.
Wait, we have?
Yeah, I believe we did the Battle of Austerlitz. I think we got 3 in. But again, that was the same thing. We had already done. I think we had already done the epistolary stuff. So
Okay.
Wow. So yeah. So we threw somebody at Shura and missed.
Yeah, we missed. Sorry, guys. My bad. My B.
I feel bad for, like, I don't know.
We got some bisexuality potential coming up.
Yeah.
That's good.
No, this was lovely. I'm gonna stop the recording now. Thank you all so much. I am looking forward to the next one of these. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Have a good night, everyone.
It's a whirlwind of emotion. God. Oh God. Can I do something soon? I really feel like I need to lie down for like 30 seconds and then, like, figure out my thoughts. I'm just gonna lie down on the floor here and just think about them. Like, you can still hear me because this mic's really good. Jeez. Okay.
We actually broke.
All right, no, that didn't help.